Alrighty, now we got stuff working.
There we go.
Alright, we got a few people in here. Guess we'll start off right away. I always want to start off with to kind of get a feel of how long people have been doing this. So when did you start your pick fed?
Oh Lord. Back when there was Polaroid pictures. If that dates way before USBs and all the fun stuff, and internet was a household thing way before. It was just us taking Polaroids and cutting them to a certain degree and making little magazines and sharing them with each other at school.
Wow. Yeah, I never did that kind of stuff. So that's crazy to me. But so looks like you got some of your guys that are former champions. Who are your current champions right now in your pick fed?
Right now, our big end of AOPW. If you don't follow it, we Christmas Bash 24, which is our WrestleMania, and got new tag team champions out of the big TLC match. We got the Great Muta and Shinsuke Nakamura. The Orient Express is our new tag champs. British Bulldog is still our television champion at the time, as of right now. Our Extreme champion, which is kind of like our exhibition, is Kazarian. And then our Texas championship has actually been vacated. Nobody's holding it right now, but we're going to have a match at the Texas Rumble. Going to have two guys from TWF and two guys from AOPW fighting to see who becomes the new Texas champion. And then our World Heavyweight Championship that Mr. Roddy Piper, the owner, in a sense, of TWF is holding. Since we didn't get a clear winner at Christmas Bash, if y'all didn't check that out, go back to my page or check out AOPW's page. It was between Rock, Stone Cold, threat match for that title, Mr. Piper, and all three guys holders were on the mat when the 3 count was made, and there was no definitive winner. So as of right now, that championship that won Mr. Billy did. He makes all my titles. He's a great guy. He's real reasonable. Y'all need to check him out. As of right now, that World Heavyweight title is up for grabs at the Texas Rumble. The Rumble match itself is going to be for the heavyweight title.
Wow. Alrighty. So sounds like you got a lot of rivalries going on that might have ended at your Christmas Bash, WrestleMania, whatever you want to call it. But what are some of your biggest rivalries that are going on right now and that you have done in your history of your pick fed?
The biggest rivalries right now, well, since we just did them all at Christmas Bash part, we're going to start fresh next year. But the one I'm looking forward to, and I know there's a lot of guys that follow me, a lot of people that follow me, they're always saying Kane. Kane is going to win the Rumble match. Kane's going to do this. Well, we actually have a no-holds-barred match between The Undertaker and his brother Kane. Kane cost him the match at Triple H at Christmas Bash, so that one's going to be fun. And then, we got the franchise himself here in TWF fame, TWF Hall of Famer, been in every single Christmas Bash. We have Sting, who is now the AOP champion. He might be making an appearance at the Texas Rumble if he's freed up from said, but we'll see. But some of I think some of how'd you say it? The best rivalries or rivalries?
Yeah, the biggest, best rivalries that you think you've done.
The biggest and best, I would have to say, as of right now, anything that I've put Triple H in. I don't know. It feels special, and it's easy to book and shoot and everything like that. So anything with Triple H, and anything honestly with like Mr. Perfect, Kurt Angle, Ken Shamrock, anything with like technical guys, Bret Hart, Ricochet, it's natural to do.
Yeah.
So I would say anything with those guys in it, I would consider, in my opinion, gold.
Yeah, it sounds like them are all top Hall of Famers right there that you mentioned. So, you said your upcoming thing is the Texas Rumble. What are some of your other future plans going forward?
Uh, let's see. Well, honestly, I scaled back as far as like Instagram pay-per-views because I was trying to do one every month, and just between real life and family, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. I'm getting older, and I got daughters. I got my wife. I need time with them as much as I can, and try to do the figure thing at the same time. It's kind of a release. So I've
Mm-hmm.
scaled back pay-per-views, and we got the Texas Rumble coming up. After that, we have a new pay-per-view called Blind in Texas. It's one of the new TWF download, kind of like WWF Your House type thing. But
Mm-hmm.
Blind in Texas is somewhat of an interactive pay-per-view where the followers that I have can kind of vote on what titles they want to see on the show, what kind of matches they want to see, and pick who they want to see go for. Kind of like a Taboo Tuesday type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of do. I haven't done that before. Then we got it's a newer pay per view. It'll be the second time I've done it. Supercharged, which will be a little bit more towards the summer. Then we got one of the big three, as I call it, Holy Now, our Halloween type pay per view, and then lead right back into Christmas Bash.
All right, sounds like a lot of great stuff coming forward. A lot of new stuff there. I like that idea with the download one type deal. It's a really, I think, unique thing to do. But there's I don't know if you follow other pick feds. You mentioned AOPW a lot, but what are some of your top 5 pick feds or favorite pick feds right now?
I mean, I got to stick with AOPW. That's my brother basically. We might as well be blood related, but he's on the list. I've been looking at a lot of your stuff. Your stuff is week by week steadily getting better and better and better, and it's actually making me want to see what's coming. There's a bed that's out there that's really good. There's WEW. I'm also friends with, part of the, as we call it, the four. There's 4 of us friends get together and try to do joint shows together. He's really good. He does a little side project where it's like a underground fight club with his guys, and it's real interesting to watch, and it's a good kick to take your mind off things. And there's also one of my buddies. He's CWF. All of his guys on the roster are custom. Like, he comes up with the names, up with the concepts. Every one of his guys on the roster are custom to his head.
Yeah, I'd like to get him on here one day. He's got a really unique roster.
Oh yeah,
Crazy.
yeah. He's a good.
So there's a lot of people starting out like me. So you could kind of say that we're underrated, kind of under the radar of some people. I don't know if you're following any lower follower count people, but who are some of your people you should watch?
Underrated. Don't ever consider yourself underrated, because if you're putting the effort to do shows, you're not underrated at all. Okay, it takes a lot of patience, a lot of hours to get the shots that we get. It's not just I'm going to go in here for an hour and take some pictures and then figure out how to put them together and make it look good. No, you have to think about it. You have to strategically plan out how you're going to do each match, and you have to get the right camera angle to look like crap. You can't just go in there and just pick fit. You can, but it's not going to look that good.
Yeah.
So don't consider yourself underrated or anything like that. Or bad. There is not a bad pick fed unless you just take pictures and just slap them together. But if you take time to sit there and strategically plan out your stuff, you're not ready in my book. Honestly, I don't see pick fetting as any pick feder is underrated. Everybody takes the time to put out a good, decent product. Are there some, like the big names, I guess you could say, that look awesome? Yeah, there are. But
Mhm.
then again, look at some of the smaller up and comer ones that we all started there. And if anybody, well, I know I've always been like this. They're lying. I mean, good Lord. For like 3 years, I didn't have a wrestling ring. I had a cowboy boot box that I stuck pieces of wood through, and I had like yarn from my mom's sewing kit for ropes. So I had a rectangle ring instead of a square ring. So, I mean, we all start somewhere.
Mhm.
Don't ever let anybody tell you that your stuff's crap, because if they're sitting there saying that, there's a good possibility that they don't know what they're talking about, number one. And number two, they can't do what we're doing.
Yeah,
So that's
it's a
my
great answer there. So let's get into some of your wrestling instead of more pick fed. What are some of your favorite matches in history of wrestling?
other than mine. uh,
Other than yours, yeah.
favorite. I mean, you can't knock, like, say, Randy Savage versus Steamboat WrestleMania 3, and you
Mm-hmm.
can always back that and always find something new. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, any one of those matches.
Right.
I mean, I know a lot of people say Hogan, but me personally, I can watch Hogan for like 5 seconds and
Yeah.
hey, it's the same and over. And then you got your Ric Flairs and your Bret Harts. I mean, anything with those guys in it is magic, because they know how to entertain, but they also know how to tell a story without even trying. So, I mean,
Exactly.
out of all time greatest matches, I mean, I know it doesn't make a lot of people's lists, but it's probably the first time Sting and Ric Flair went at it for the world title.
Hmm.
I think it was a Clash of Champions. But if you watch that match, I mean, watching Flair put the work in to make this up and comer Sting what he became, that says a whole lot. He didn't have to do it, but he saw the potential and he took the time. And it's like, okay, let's go with it. Like, come on. Awesome.
Right. So some really great answers. Like some people I've talked to, not to be rude, but they're much seems like they're much younger than you are, but it's great to have someone that's been around and seen all that
Oh,
stuff
yeah. Well,
and watched it.
I've always been a fan of wrestling, and then
Mm-hmm.
getting wrestling myself and training and everything. I mean, I can go back and I'll watch stuff from like Gorgeous George Day from the 50s and 60s, or Lou Thez. I
Mm-hmm.
watch every. I mean, my wife gets sick of it because it's like I'd rather watch wrestling than I would football.
Yeah.
And she, what do you watch? Never mind, I know what you're watching.
Right. So there's been a lot of companies. You can name some indie companies, some bigger companies, but what are some of your favorite companies that you like to watch?
I mean, I grew up a WCW kid,
Right.
so I mean WCW is on the top. Then I'd say WWF, or excuse me, WWE
Mm-hmm.
for all the newer kids.
Yeah.
But and then some of the smaller ones, TNA, Impact Wrestling was starting out something new, and I was hooked on that. And as far as the indie promotions, I mean, there's wrestling, Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, which I came from that, and
Mm-hmm.
then there's a lot of promotions down here in Texas that I actually enjoy watching. Like there's Loco Wrestling, there's Undisputed Pro Wrestling, which I'm actually working for now. I've got a good product. Uh, I mean, there's New Texas. I even like all the old school honors back when it was an independent company.
Oh, that's awesome. So, a lot of storylines. You got to have storylines in your wrestling, I think, because it
Oh
is
yeah.
an entertainment business. It's also sports entertainment, sports, whatever you want to call it. But what are some of your favorite storylines in the history of wrestling? You could go the Hogan Andre story, the Rock and Austin, the Shawn and Undertaker. There's been a lot of great ones, but what are some that you can remember that you thought were just so amazing to you?
So I would have to say the Ultimate Warrior and Hogan leading up to WrestleMania 6.
Mm-hmm.
That one was built very well. It was a good story being told. Sting versus Hollywood Hogan. Hogan's going to get mentioned a lot for reason.
Yeah.
Good storytelling. They don't have to wrestle as long as you can tell a good story.
Right.
But then, you look at it again and you got Shawn and Brett, that not only a rivalry in the ring, but behind the scenes as well. And it played.
Right.
So, I mean, stuff like that. But, I mean, the biggest one for me was how many years was Undertaker and Kane? How many years would
Mm-hmm.
tell that story and just keep going with it and add these new twists and turns and avenues to it? And it's like, oh, man, this is great.
Exactly. So, with those storylines, there comes moments. What is one of your favorite moments that you've seen and witnessed in wrestling? Could be the Hogan drops Andre. I don't know if you've seen that, but in person, but something like that.
Honestly, it would have to be. It'd have to be WrestleMania 17 when it was down here, and just the crowd reaction when that glass shattered for Boston.
Yeah, that's
seeing that reaction and feeling it. It was like, oh, this is awesome. So
were you there at that show or?
Yeah, I was just sitting way at the top in nosebleeds.
Yeah, but hey, still you can feel the crowd, so
it still counts.
That's just, yeah. So you mentioned Hogan a few times. You got Rock and Austin there pictured, and Roddy Piper. Who are some of your favorite wrestlers?
Hands down, all time great. I can list all five of them. Number one would be Sting. Bret Hart. The American Dream. As far as number 5, it's actually it's not a person, it's a team, and it would be the Road Warriors.
Who was your number 4? I think you cut out when you said it.
I got Sting, Bret Hart, Undertaker. Or no, excuse me, Dusty Rhodes. Undertaker was number 4.
Alrighty. I've heard a few people have maybe Bret Hart in there, but that's definitely a different top 5. I always hear a lot of Shawn's and Hogan's and those guys are always in someone's top 5 all the time. But I like to hear someone's got a different view and likes for their top 5s.
Right.
So that's awesome. So you mentioned you were at WrestleMania 17. What are some of the other pay-per-views that you remembered and just loved because how great they were?
I mean, that SummerSlam with the first TV match, watching that on TV was pretty cool. The first WrestleMania I ever saw, actually, my buddy from school went to a garage and found WrestleMania 6 for like 50 cents or something like that. And he's like, I found WrestleMania 6. What are you talking about, WrestleMania 6? And I went to his house. We probably watched that VHS tape, kids. Or YouTube. We probably watched that thing 100 times in one weekend.
Wow.
And we used to reenact every match from beginning to end, and we'd take turns being different people and then just reverse the roles. But I think the one pay-per-view that I've actually been to that was cool, but at the same time kind of weird was, I think it was Vengeance when it was here in Houston the night that Chris Benoit died.
Oh, wow.
Because it was supposed to like him and John Morrison, and it turned into John Morrison and CM Punk. Everybody in the crowd's like, "Where the hell's Benoit?" Because that was one of the two was Benoit.
Yeah. That's
And I'm
great.
probably going for it, but I was a Chris Benoit fan.
Yeah.
I don't really like the person or the
Yeah.
situation, but as far
Mhm.
as his ring work and the stuff that he did in the ring, you can't argue with it.
Yeah, I agree on that. I agree. He's great in ring, outside the ring, not so much.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the Road Warriors as your number 5 favorite, and so I'm guessing they're number 1 tag team. So who are your some other favorite tag teams that you have?
I mean, FTR is a big one. I love watching these guys work.
Yeah.
They were the longest reigning tag champs in TWF until I love the Road Warriors. I love FTR, so that's 1 and 2. Number 3 was the original Heart Foundation with Brett and Jim Leanne. They were always
Yeah.
to watch. I loved watching the Rockers.
Mhm.
And then a team that I'm probably going to get laughed at for, but I love the team of Doink Inc., the Clowns, just because it's just an odd pairing and it worked.
Right. All right. Was not expecting that last one, but all right. So it's been a lot of champions over the years, world champions, mid-card champions. What are some of your favorite championship designs? Could be the big gold belt. And who are some of your favorite champions that held that title?
So, honestly, as far as I'm a big championship mark. If you look at my titles here in TWF, it kind of gives you an idea of my favorite titles. Like, number 1 all-time favorite title is the Winged Eagle.
That's a lot of.
Love that title. As far as who held it, I loved it when Bret Hart and Shawn wore it.
Yeah.
Over Hogan. Now, when Savage got it, that got my attention too. But when Hogan wore it, it's like, Hogan has it. Okay. 5 minutes ago. But when, I guess you could say when the Workhorses had the title, it made you watch. And it just got a little bit more prestigious because those guys can go out there and do what they do and bring the title up to where it needs to. Second title design, I would have to say the Big Gold. Ric Flair Island and profiling thing, Dusty Rhodes having. Me being a kid, Hogan had it. You're Hogan again. But when Goldberg beat Hogan, at home, I just got home from school, and Monday Night Nitro to start, and they made the. I'm like, what? Seeing Goldberg beat Hogan the way he did, not on a pay-per-view, but on live
TV.
That was cool, and seeing him get that title. I mean, I love the WCW US title too over the WWE.
Yeah.
All the new WWE belts, with the exception of, I guess, the new US title, I think are pretty lame.
Yeah.
There was that famous line from The Rock, told John Cena, "Your championship looks like a toy." All the time. Now, I don't understand who you change the colors. That doesn't mean crap to me.
Right.
I mean, want it to stand out in something, then I think they need to look different and have their own little perspective. Oh, this type looks like that, different color.
Right. I agree on that. So, it's a lot of errors in wrestling. Go back to the 50s. I don't know what territory area. Then you go to Attitude later on. I don't know what was between that one, but I'll get to the question here. What was your favorite era of wrestling?
I mean, I like the territory stuff, but I'm a Attitude Era kid. So that new generation going into the Attitude Era is where I started coming in, and I mean, I'm kind of like the rest of the Attitude Era kids. You can't really argue with us on which was the era.
Right.
Or was it the Attitude Era? And if you look at it, it's like, I think we got you beat on it.
Yeah. So we'll get back into the figures here, pick fets here. What are some of your favorite figures of all time? You could go the real old ones with the Jacks and the Hasbros, or you can go with the more modern stuff. But what's your favorite figures?
I mean, I love what Mattel's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're knocking it out, especially with the Ultimate Edition. I love the Ultimate. They're easy to work with, fun to mess around with. Uh, but I grew up with the Jacks bone crunching and the WCW. Unfortunately, those stupid vibrating WCW figures that made absolute sense. I grew up with those, but then we started getting into the Titantron era figures. Like, these look like Mickey Mouse. What's on here? But as they right now, as far as figures go, are probably my favorite. Now, I do love finding old stuff, especially when they're still in the package, and
Yeah.
snatching those up. I have a ton of them stored right now. We're waiting for our barn to be. I can set up the man cave in there and move this table out there. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, anything. I like the classic stuff. I like LGNs. I like all that. The Galoob toys. I like all that.
Mm-hmm.
Back memories of a simpler time.
Right. I agree on that one. Did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
All right. Sorry. You're real quiet there. But yeah. All right. There's a lot of ups and downs in pig fetting. We'll start with ups here. What are some of your favorite parts about just being a pig fetter?
The creativity.
Creativity.
Not only coming up with the shows, but like this monster of a table that I'm leaning out, coming up with the idea to build this. I mean, if you look up, there's the light rig.
Mm-hmm.
I think all in all, I'll give you a little tour.
Yeah. And it's very, very impressive.
All the table stands with the light structure beam 7 feet high, and it's about half feet long by 4 feet. Like behind this whole wall right here,
Mm-hmm.
I have like another 2-3 foot of table that I can build in the stage area.
My God.
I don't trust the dog kennel underneath it because I have an English Mastiff puppy that thinks everything is a chew toy.
Yeah, I understand that. I don't like when my animals are downstairs. So there's always downs to stuff. So what are your least favorite parts about being a pig fetter?
Least favorite parts. Don't like the people who come in there and think they're Dave Meltzer and try to rip. And that's all. Like, dude, we're doing this for fun. Why are you sitting there nitpicking stuff? I don't understand. Really go after people that are just starting. Like, oh well, like so had this match. It was Rock versus Roman Reigns. Like 500 million other people are doing, and it's crap. Really, just stop. They're having fun. That's all that matters. I'd rather them be doing this than going out there and committing a crime or something like that. I'd rather them have fun with their freaking action figures than go out there and put people down because they're not as good as, I'm not going to drop any names, but a big major pick fetter.
Mm-hmm.
Let them think. They're having fun. They're having a good time, staying out of trouble. If that's what they're doing, let them do it. Don't judge their stuff. That's That's the one thing that really irks me and like makes me look at pig feeding in a negative way is when people start nitpicking everybody's work. It's like, who are you? I'm not.
Right.
I don't see you doing this. How? Why? What gives you the right to judge? Us as a community coming together and saying, okay, we nominate you to rate every pig fed and every single match and give them X amount of stars, good or bad. Any of us doing that?
Right.
That's the negative I see with pig feeding. People that take it upon themselves to be like, oh well, TW Roddy Piper versus Eklund for 20 minutes. Like 20 minutes? What are you talking about? There's like 4 posts, 5 minutes.
Right.
I'm at 2 hours to shoot because I had to figure out which photos I needed.
Exactly.
That's negative, I would say.
Yeah, I do agree on that one. That's something I don't really try not to do or be like that, but yeah. So try to go back in the positives here. There's a lot of new figures coming out. I don't know if you like. I'm sure you're gonna want new figures, but what are some of the new ones that you're wanting to get?
The Headbreaker and the Poly Dangerously. I saw those 3 and I was like, I need them. That and
Yeah,
the events of Razor and AJ Styles. I thought those were pretty cool.
yeah, those are pretty great. All right. Did you are you a big Hogan collector? Because there's a million of those coming out all the time.
No, I mean,
It's just the same thing every time.
it's part of my childhood, but I just never a Hulkamaniac.
All right. I don't think I would have been too if I grew up then.
People hate me for saying that. It's true. I'm not a Hulkamaniac. Nice guy, entertainer, but I can only do 5 posing for so long.
Right. So there's a lot of stuff everyone wants to change about themselves and what their situations. But what are some things that you would want to add or change to your Fed?
Oh Lord. No, I kind of revamp stuff for season premieres and stuff. Whenever I take a break, I try to come back. But I mean, we got the new Thunder logo that came out a couple days ago. I don't know if any liked it or not, but I thought it was. But no, we're just it's it's an every evolving type. You got to grow, coming up with new storylines, keep people interested, or else you fade away, and the next person's going to take your spot. I guess you could say. So you always got to kind of reinvent the wheel the best you can and keep it going.
Right.
No, I mean, like it said in that story I posted with the new Thunder logo and everything, different look, bigger attitude. So I'm going to try to make it as much as possible. Give some people a little bit of an escape when they're looking at the stuff. That
Right.
off of everyday hassles and worries and just be like, man.
Alrighty. So you've talked about a lot of your childhood stuff. What was that you can remember was the first thing that was like, yeah, this is something I'm gonna dedicate a lot of my life to. Is this something I love? What was the first moment that said, I love wrestling?
Just be so stupid. It was Bash at the Beach, Dallas Page and Carl Malone against Rodman and Hogan. My brother brought the tape that his friend taped from pay-per-view. Watch it. What was this?
Right.
Or that, back and Van Vader and spin the wheel, make the deal at Halloween Havoc. And for that, and then I was watching, I was like, I do remember this now. So.
All right. There's a lot of newcomers coming out. What would you tell someone that was just starting out with the pig fed to help them grow?
Have fun. That's the big one. Have fun with what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're not having fun, what's the point?
Right.
Have fun. Keep on trucking. You know, don't let anybody put you down, because the community is actually a very special community. And if you don't know what to do, all you have to do is reach out. You know, kind of like with you. You're like, man, I'd love to get you and so and so on there. I was like, well, did you ask? And
right.
what'd you say? No. Would you like to? And I was like, sure, why not? So that's the biggest thing. Don't ever be afraid to ask. The only stupid question, and I'm going to say this, the only stupid question in life itself, and you can use this in pig feeding, is the question you don't ask.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't ask it, how are you ever going to know?
I like that answer. So, I don't know your process, but my process to set up my stuff, I just start writing it down. I got a book here, but with all my notes here. But what is your process for coming up with your upcoming show or your anything?
I get an idea. It's usually at work.
Right.
Because I work in a chemical plant, so I get a little bit of downtime, and I'll be sitting there thinking, and it'll just pop into my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just write it down, and then whenever I get a little bit more free time, I'll write the whole scenario down. So, like right now, I have stuff written down leading all the way to January 2024.
I'm not that ahead, but I like to get a few weeks ahead before I take my pictures. So.
I'm not just talking about like pay-per-views. I have Thunders planned out. I have the pay-per-views. I have the one-off shows. You know, if somebody comes to me, hey, you want to be part of a joint show? Sure. What kind of show is it? I have an idea ready to go. So.
Wow. All right. I kind of mentioned this a few seconds ago, but what is the best way to grow your pig fed, grow your following, grow your community? What would you tell someone what they should do to help get their followers up?
Hashtag
Hashtag
WWE, WWE SmackDown Live, WWE Raw is board, that kind of stuff. And if you follow big pick feeders, like say for instance, if you tag me in your stuff, then that means people that follow me in your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because you tagged me in it. So you post something and you put at Texas Wrestling Federation. Well, anything with my name on it is going to pop up, and everybody else is going to see your stuff that doesn't follow you. So that brings in more people. So you got to think that way. Another good one is just come up with good content. You don't have to do match after match after match. You can come up with a formula that works for you. I mean, like I'll do a match, I'll do a segment, and then I'll do another match and maybe another segment. I might get 3 matches in one show, but so kind of figure out your format for running shows as far as what works for you best. If it's a segment and then a match, or a match and a segment to close the show, fine, do that. It's really your preference. But best way to really get people in there is hashtagging people, I guess is what it, and just tagging people in general, and just promote story, and then on your feed so people can see it. Like I'm sure there's 500 pictures of the same stupid thing on mine, but it's just I tagged all these people in it.
All right.
You just got to think that way. And it's you have to be a promoter without being a promoter. If that makes any sense.
That is true. So there's not very many people on here right now, but if anyone's got questions real quick, you can put them in the questions or in the comments real quick. But I will go ahead and say thank you for... Oh, go ahead.
of Figs is in. I see House of Figs. Yeah, he is in
Yeah.
here.
He's in here.
I actually
Looks like
started
Jim Ross.
4 weeks ago.
Yep. He's great. He was my first guest on here, so everyone make sure to go follow him. Everyone make sure to go follow Texas Wrestling Federation. I really appreciate you joining me here today. Sorry I had to change the time up on you, but I kind of had a
Oh, you're
good
good.
stuff going. So,
You're good. You're good.
but I do appreciate you. I will announce that I will be taking 2 weeks off. I won't be doing the Monday after Christmas and the Monday after January 1st. But the big news, this man helped me get him. All I had to do was ask him, like he said earlier. AOPW is my next guest to start off next year with Get to Know That Fed. So I'll be posting about that for the next couple weeks until that show. But once again, thanks, man. If we got any questions from the watchers, for Bill,
Hey,
just
if
comment them real quick.
questions for me, don't be scared. Just message me.
Yeah, just missed.
I'm not gonna bite your head off. If I don't way, it's probably because I'm doing something, but I will get back to you.
Right. And that, same for me. If anyone, just all you gotta do is message me. But just don't spam. That gets annoying. But if you got a question, just message me. Really, a lot of these people, House Figs, he's a great guy to talk to.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of great guys. But once again, thank you for joining in, man. Sorry I got to change the times on you, but
you're
I
good.
appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, that's it, everyone. Thanks everyone that watched. Thanks HOF. Everyone else, I don't know who else was in here. RTPS World, HEW, AOPW is our next guest, and we're gonna end it off here. Thanks.
Heck yeah. See y'all later.
See ya. Bye.
Bye, bud.